Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, sir. I'm indeed very grateful to this House. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And let me thank all the honorable members. I'm in fact very impressed, gratified, satisfied that my longish budget speech has invoked so much interest in this House, and I'm very thankful to the House for it. 98 speakers have taken interest and spoken about it, which means the budget had so much that you could either pick up and comment on, criticize, question, but generate a good debate. So I'm very grateful that 98 participants from this House have contributed and enriched this debate on the budget. I'd like to now broadly go into some of the specific issues. I'm not naming each of the members who participated, but I certainly will answer either collectively or specifically with or without naming the members. Sir, the size of the Indian economy is something which I'll start with. In 2014-15, sir, our economy was about 2 trillion. And by 18-19, it has reached 2.7 trillion in its size. And by 19-20, we have reached 2.9 trillion. And that is the rate at which the economy is growing. And the highlights which I want every one of us to draw our comments based on is the high macroeconomic stability, the GDP growth averaging about 7.4, averaging, all right, inflation at 4.5%, and therefore central government's liabilities, which is a very important factor, sir. Central government's liabilities, and this is as per RBI's estimates, declining from 52.2% of GDP by the end of March 2014 to 49.4% by end of March 2019. So the concentration of most members during the debate has been, all right, you're saying this, you're saying that, but then what are the green shoots? Are there any green shoots at all? Is there a hope? Is the economy going to improve? And by when? Have all been very pertinent questions asked. I want to highlight, if anything, just 7 of those important indicators which show that there are green shoots in the economy. And therefore, I would draw the attention of the House for every such debate that we do, that the 7 indicative green shoots are very important for us to take into cognizance. The first thing is the global sentiment is in favor of India. Foreign investors continue to show confidence in India, and that is why the country has attracted a net FDI of $24.4 billion in April to November of 2019-20, when all of us have started wondering if there are ways in which we can identify if there are any green shoots. Even between October and even between April and November of 2019-20, $24.4 billion as compared to $21.2 billion the same period, April to November the previous year, which is 2018-19. The net FPI in April to November 2019-20 was positive at $12.6 billion as against 8.7 only, 8.7 in April-November 2018-19. That is the first indicator, sir. And the second, the announcement of the National Infrastructure Pipeline may further increase the flow of FDI into the country, even for brownfield projects. And therefore, the green shoot is got to be identified, recognized, and its impact all of us can wait to see. So the next one, the third indicator of green shoots, industrial activity is on a rebound. The IIP number in November 2019 has registered a growth, a positive 1.8% as compared to the contraction it suffered of 3.4% in October 19 and 4.3% in September 19. Between September, October and compare it to November, November itself is showing positive indicator. That's a third indicator, sir. And quickly moving over to the fourth. I wish members do pay a bit more of attention, sir. The first one was the global sentiment. Second, based on which the FDI flows have come. The second, sir, is the net FPI, portfolio investments. That's the second, sir. And the third, therefore, is industrial activity as represented or indicated by the IIP November 2000 number. Now, November 2019 number. So the fourth, PMI manufacturing, which is the Purchase Managers Index, that is steadily improving, increasing from 51.2 in November 2019 to 52.7 and 55.3 between December and January. So November was 51.2, December was 52.7, and January was 55.3, and therefore there's a steady climb on the PMI also. So if that's the fourth, the fifth, sir, forex reserves, foreign exchange reserves, have built up from $413 billion by end of March 2019 to $466.69 billion as of 24th January 2020, reflecting an increasing confidence of overseas investors in the Indian economy. That's the fifth. Sixth indicator, sir, the gross GST revenue collection, about which all of us do have a lot of concern, but I'd like to assure the House the numbers that I will read now will give you the confidence that GST collection is steadily but only improving. GST gross revenue collected for the month of January 2020, sir, is 1,10,828 crores. During April 2019 and January 2020, the gross GST revenue collected has surpassed 1 lakh crores 6 times, pointing towards an increased economic activity overall. The gross GST revenue collected in the month of January 2020 grew at 12%, collected in December 19. So if I were to go from the earliest month, November 2019 was 6% more than the corresponding month of the previous year. December, 9% more than the corresponding month the previous year. January 2020 compared to January 2019 has grown 12%. So there is a steady growth compared each month to the previous year, and therefore the negative growth rate which it showed only in September and October has been corrected. We are on a positive growth trajectory. And this will obviously bring in greater newer investments to the economy because the performance of the, and it will also reduce the business costs. So that's the sixth green shoot I would like to highlight. Green shoot 7, sir. Reinstating the positive confidence in the Indian economy, the secondary markets continue to be upbeat, and the BSE Sensex increased by 5.6% up to 31st January 2019 over end of March 2019. So 7 green shoots based on which the economy now very clearly is moving forward with also very clear steps that the government has taken. So most often when we talk about the economy, we constantly and rightly refer to the 4 growth engines. 4 growth engines, and sometimes it's alleged that three are not working, the government and the economy is moving on the strength of just one engine. The four growth engines, sir, just for our information, are private consumption, private investment, public investment, and exports. These are four engines which we constantly keep referring to see if the economy is doing well or not. Now, I'd like to tell you about the measures that we've taken so that, given these green shoots and the measures that we're taking, that the economy is moving forward and the government is constantly in touch with the industry, with MSMEs, with stakeholders of all kinds, so that the steps that we take actually trigger all the four engines towards better prospects and better speed of growth. So on investment, I'd like to mention 13 specific steps that the government has taken. And because of these steps, and also because of the green shoots, I will give you very clearly that the government is constantly engaged with sectors and also taking appropriate steps. The first one, sir, in December 2019, the Cabinet approved the Insolvency and the Bankruptcy Code's Second Amendment Bill, and the amendment helped in fast-tracking the insolvency resolution process, and therefore, with greater ease of doing business, people are able to perform. Now, I would just like to give you one data related to the IBC, the Insolvency Bankruptcy Code. Sir, as of 30th November 2019, 13,210 cases have been disposed of by the IBC. Around 190 cases, 190 cases, involving claims of around 3.67 lakhs of crores has been sorted out. Claims were 3.67 lakh crores. These cases were resolved, and a realizable amount of around 1.57 lakh crores has been realized. So the IBC and its potency and the way in which it's helping to sort out industries which are in distress. I would also like to point out, sir, 11,366 cases involving claims of around 4.74 lakh crores were disposed prior even to admission. So much before it got admitted, because IBC process is so open, people knew how it was going to work. A lot of them have settled for, prior to admission itself, settling the cases. The realizable amount, which is important, the realizable amount with respect to 4.74 lakh crores is not available, but even if we make a conservative estimate, it will be around 2 lakh crores. So in other words, out of claims of around 8.4 lakh crores, the realizable amount is around 3.57 lakh crores, which is around 43%. That's the kind of realization that the IBC is promoting. In 780 cases, which were for liquidation order, which has been passed involving around 4.52 lakh crores, liquidation value against claim is barely 6.65%. Actual details, sir. I'd like to give as many facts as you want. 3 hours now notwithstanding. There's a lot of work being done by the government, and I shall utilize my time, sir. I would like you to have the indulgence of listening to the work which this government is doing. Yes. Wow. So in 780 cases of liquidation order has been passed involving around 4.52 lakh crores. Liquidation value against claim is barely 6.65. Out of these 780 liquidation cases, 547, that is over 70%, were earlier with Board of Industrial and Financial Reconstruction, BAFR cases, and or probably even were defunct. Out of the 780 liquidation cases, 37 cases involving claims of around 8,793 crores were finally dissolved, having liquidation value of 23.06 crores with recovered value of 22.32 crores. And therefore, it is important to realize that IBC process has only expedited and sorted out matters where BIFR sat over for several years, and we've corrected that process. So if that was on the IBC, sir, I said 13 specific points where we are showing what we are doing as regards boosting investment. The second one, sir, is the National Infrastructure Pipeline, which was announced on 31st December for each year from 2019 to 2019-20 to 24-25. A task force has been formed, and they have listed out all the companies and projects with which we are going to move forward. 103 lakh crores worth of projects have been announced. So I move to the third point, which is which each one of these 13 are specific measures that we've taken. Third one is a new provision was inserted into the Income Tax Act so that the corporate tax rate which companies pay will be for domestic companies reduced from that high rate at which it was to 22%, subject to condition that they will not avail any exemptions. So rate reduction in corporate rate. And in point 3 itself, second part is, in order to promote Make in India, we reduced for new companies which were coming in, new domestic companies which were coming in from 1st October 2019, the rate has been brought down to 15%. And also, as a process of simplification and making it easier for people who want to comply, the minimum alternative tax has been removed in all these cases. So we are making sure that the benefit of reduced taxation will reach companies, and also making sure the process of simplifying the reform step, which is towards simplification of the taxation process and the framework, are being simultaneously handled. Not only reduction, but also removal of MAT goes in that direction. So the fourth of the 13 points related to steps to improve investment. Budget 2019-20 announced an infusion of 70,000 crores into public sector banks to boost credit and investment in the economy. As of November 2019, 60,314 crores have been infused from this provision which we made in the July 2019 budget, and banks are better equipped towards funding for growth and investment. So fifth point of the 13, strong banks are now the imperative to achieve the $5 trillion economy that we want to build. Along with numerous governance reforms, government has proposed an amalgamation of 10 public sector banks into 4, and with a view to create next generation banks with strong national presence and a global reach. Operational efficiency also are being worked up. Efficiency gains arising due to this consolidation are expected to reduce the cost of lending. So one other aspect of point 5 is that RBI's Monetary Policy Committee has changed its stance from calibrated tightening to neutral in February 2019 and to accommodative from June 2019 onwards. Accordingly, the policy rate has been reduced by 135 BPS since February 2019. However, I am glad to say that in the recent announcement, the RBI not just looked at monetary policy as an instrument, because monetary policy has its own limitations. The marginal or the incremental benefit now we are getting globally. Globally, that is the impact. Marginal or the incremental benefit that we're getting out of monetary policy is now plateauing, and therefore our central bank, much to their credit, I like to recognize this fact, has come out with very creative solutions so that the economy is driven towards growth, not just observing inflation but also enabling growth. And for that, the four things that the Reserve Bank of India did a couple of days ago are of great importance. The cash reserve ratio, sir, which is a requirement on deposits used for lending to auto and housing sectors, are waived so as to bring down the cost of credit. This is a step which Reserve Bank of India has taken, aiming at pushing the economy towards greater growth. Second step they took is one-time restructuring of loans to MSMEs and allowing construction sector a one-year time to start operations after receiving the loan. Again, a positive step towards pushing the economy further towards better, speedier growth. Third, sir, long-term repo rates up to 1 trillion, which is 1 lakh crore, in 1 to 3 year window to be introduced so that banks can avail of it from the RBI itself to ensure adequacy of funds to banks in the medium term. So I'd like to elaborate on this point a bit. Most often, we have a problem and we really are facing a situation where there is a lot of liquidity available in the country, with the banks, in the economy. But that liquidity doesn't seem to flow further to reach those people who want the credit. As a result, we were confounded with this issue of there is liquidity, but actually it's not reaching people who want it. Therefore, this step which is being taken by the Reserve Bank, for whatever compulsions that the banks do not want to give the liquidity further, they've now made a provision so that at policy rate, which is far lesser than the repo, at policy rate, the banks can even borrow from the Reserve Bank and lend further at an affordable rate. It's a very creative step, and I'm really glad that the liquidity movement, not waiting for the banks to reset their books, will now be further enabled. And finally, the repo rate remains unchanged at 5.15%. So with the RBI also, along with the government taking steps towards promoting growth, I'm sure the green shoots and this together will help our economy to move further. So in order to enable housing and infrastructure projects, the government has proposed to establish an organization, Credit Enhancement for Infrastructure and Housing Projects. So we have now come up with a further benchmarking, which the Reserve Bank has also enabled, so that banks will have to price their interest rates accordingly so that they can move towards better funding of government, MSME and other projects. So then, the eighth point, with a view of boosting the realty sector, the real estate sector, incentivizing consumers to buy houses, the government has taken some notable measures. Government steps for helping people to have their purchases of houses enabled. We have approved a special window, sir, which will provide funds for people's projects which are remaining stalled because the promoters have no more money left to complete their projects, and with the special window, they will now be able to fund all these stalled projects so that home buyers don't have to wait, not knowing when the promoters are going to get the money to complete. And this is aimed at affordable and middle-income housing sector. As a result, government shall be acting as a sponsor, and we have infused 10,000 crores so that with the matching fund being given by banks, LIC and other financial institutions to the extent of 25,000 crore, we will have a category 2 alternate investment fund which will help, which is registered with SAB, which will now fund all those projects which are waiting completion and home buyers are stuck up having taken a loan in the bank. That is a step taken by the government. The next, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Gramin, are to be provided 1.95 crore houses. 1.95 crore houses will be provided in the Gramin area with amenities like toilets, electricity, LPG connections, all during this phase now within 3 years, which will end by 2022. So we are very confident And our record in the way in which we've reached Ujjwala, in the way in which we reached electricities to houses in far-flung areas also, we are very confident that 1.95 crore houses will be completed by 2022. So the next, external commercial borrowing guidelines have been relaxed so that financing of home buyers who are eligible under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana in consultation with RBI, and this will be in addition to the existing ECB norms. So then, how home buyers? Are we reaching money in the hands of people? Are we promoting investment? We are giving you the steps which we have taken in order that investment gets propelled. So, house building advance. Now, all these loans, all these liquidity which is reaching people and all the investments which are going directly to benefit the common man, sir, housing, affordable housing, and so on. So, house building advance. The interest rate on house building advance shall be lowered and linked to the 10-year government security yields. Additional deduction of up to 1.5 lakhs for interest paid on loans borrowed up to 31st March 2020 for purchase of house valued up to 45 lakhs for promoting affordable house. These are also steps taken by us. Additional liquidity to support housing finance corporations, which was till now at 20,000 crores. We have now increased it by another 10,000 crores, 30,000 crores for all the housing finance corporations. Sir, we are also aware that I had made an announcement earlier that a partial credit guarantee scheme will be given to for the purchase of high-rated pooled assets so that NBFCs will be better placed to give further assistance. Sir, that was the 9th point, sir. Now, 10th point is about the auto sector. Normally, there's a lot of anxiety if auto sector is getting helped or not. Auto sector had severe challenges. We have recognized that. And therefore, for the auto sector, I'd like to quickly mention the 4 different steps that we've taken. One-time registration fees being deferred until June 2020. BS4 vehicles purchased till 31st March 2020 to remain operational for the entire period of registration. Additional 15% depreciation on all vehicles to increase to 30%. Existing was 15%, we've increased to 30%. Acquired during the period from now till 31st March 2020. Both electrical vehicles and the ICVs, the internal combustion vehicles, will continue to be registered, and to boost demand, government will lift the ban on replacing old vehicles with purchase of new vehicles by government departments. So this is about the 10th point, sir. I come to the 11th, the Stand Up India scheme, and that has been extended till 2025. It's one of the major programs of the government where SCs, STs, and women belonging to all districts in this country had benefited, and we have extended that to 2025. The scheme aims to facilitate bank loans between 10 lakhs to 100 lakhs to at least one scheduled caste or one scheduled tribe or a woman, at least one woman borrower per bank branch, and for setting up greenfield enterprises. In case of non-individual, sir, if there is no one individual, but if there is a small organization which wants to take this kind of a facility under Stand Up, we've said at least 51% of holding in that little company should be of SC or ST or women. So Stand Up, which has a very, very serious implication and benefit for women and SCs and STs at the district level, is being extended till 2025. So lastly, sir, the 12th and the 13th point, government has put in place an investor-friendly FDI policy with which we expect that a lot more investments, because they are an automatic route, will come into this country. And lastly, to mitigate genuine difficulties which startups faced and such investors faced. Section 56 to 7B of the Income Tax Act regarding the angel tax will no longer be applicable to startups who are registered under DPIIT. So if all these are measures, sir, which we have taken towards that investment engine, public investment and also private investment, these are the concrete steps that I'd like to put before this August House as steps taken by this government in order to facilitate reaching the 5 trillion target and also giving that necessary stimulus for the economy. So boost to consumption. So consumption is something which most people are constantly asking me about. You've taken a lot of steps for the supply side of things. What's happening to consumption? What's happening to the demand side? I'd like to list out 7 simple steps which we have taken. The first, minimum support price for all mandated Rabi crops and Kharif crops for 2019-20 has been mandated. And it's been increased. The minimum support price for all mandated Rabi and Kharif crops for 2019-20 has been increased for all those items which are listed. Second, sir, to provide an assured income support to small and marginal farmers, the cash transfer scheme Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi, providing an income support of 6,000 per farmer, has been extended to all eligible farmers irrespective of the size of holding. To all farmers irrespective of the size of holding. I'd like to give you the actual figures, sir. 50,000 crores as of today to 8.1 crore farmers has already reached their account. 50,000 crores to 8.1 crore farmers has already reached their accounts. Sir, by March 31st, 2020, by March 31st, 2020, this number is expected to rise from 50,000 crores that it is today to 54,370 crores within another 1.5 months. And 8.5 crore farmers will benefit from this. So that is the second, sir. I'll come to Manrega, don't worry. Third, sir, with a move towards attaining universal social security, government has approved a new scheme that offers pension coverage for all the trading community. Under this scheme, all shopkeepers, retail traders, self-employed persons are assured of a minimum monthly pension of 3,000 rupees per month on attaining 60 years of age. So that's the third step for improving consumption. Fourth step for improving consumption, sir. From July, sir.
Yes.
So, Sri Adir Ranjan ji agrees green shoots have become green trees, but he's refusing to acknowledge otherwise. Sir, 50,000 crores going to 54,000 crores is not old story. 8.1 crore farmer now becoming 8.5 crore farmer is not old story. So, sir, fourth step. 20 is not over yet, Premchandran ji. 31st March 2020 is not over yet. But yet it belongs to the previous fiscal. And the previous fiscal is what we most often quote saying, economy is in trouble. And I'm telling you, no, it's not in trouble. I'm giving you green shoots. So it can't be, sir, that when allegations are put on me, it's an old fiscal, but when I give you the answers for it, oh no, you talk about the new fiscal. I'm giving you the comparison for the performance. Fourth point, sir. From 1st August 2019, The GST rate on all electric vehicles has been reduced from 12% to 5%, and of charger and charging stations for EVs from 18% to 5%. Hiring of electrical buses, consumption, right? And so I'm giving you this example. Hiring of electrical buses of carrying capacity of more than 12 passengers by local authorities will be exempted from GST. Sir, 3 quick points on how consumption again, of the 7 that I'm telling you, consumption again has been kept in mind. We've removed the DDT, dividend distribution tax. Here, I'd like to quote this. Those who have less than 10 lakhs of income, total income. The impact of DDT, I'd like to put it before this House. The impact of removing the dividend distribution tax. Those with less than 10 lakh of total income stand to gain from it. How? Because the applicable rates are anywhere between 0 to 20%. Whereas now, those people who are receiving dividend, whose income is less than 10 lakh, not big people, small retail shareholders, not big people at all. They now stand to gain because the applicable rate is anywhere between 0 and 20, whereas now the company is deducting 20.5% before it sends it to them. So does it benefit and give money in the hands of small retailers? Yes, it does. Sixth point, sir. Similar corporate tax cut will again give more money in the hands of people who are ordinary retail shareholders, and the investment which will happen from the money that has been saved will only generate more jobs. So finally, the personal income tax, sir. Again, there are 5 crore 78 lakh taxpayers in this country, and as a result of the second way in which, or the second income tax scheme that we brought in. One way is the existing way, an alternative way which has been given with completely reduced tax rates will benefit and give more money for consumption in the hands of people. So 7 steps to boost consumption, which is one of the 4 engines which is required to be kept active and alive. So this is made very active because of these 7 steps. So finally, the 4th engine of the economy, exports, about which most often we are very worried. I'd like to give you 6 specific steps that we've taken for improving exports. The first one, sir, Honorable Speaker, the first one is the scheme for remission of duties or taxes on export product, which we in short form call RODTEP, will replace the MEIS, the Merchandise Export from India scheme, for reimbursement of taxes and duties for export promotion. Textiles and all other sectors which currently enjoy incentives up to 2% over the MEIS will transit to the RODTEP. In effect, RODTEP, this is very, very important for us here, sir. In effect, RODTEP will more than adequately incentivize exporters than the existing schemes all put together. So this very serious concern, what will happen? We are withdrawing MEIS. Will exporters have some promotion? I'm making it plain that the RODTEP, which is now coming in, will more than adequately compensate and incentivize exporters than all the existing schemes put together. So second point, sir, in order to boost credit to the export sector again, the RBI has enhanced the sanctioned limit to the eligible under priority sector lending norms. The limit has been raised from 25 crores to 40 crores per borrower. Furthermore, the existing criterion of units having turnover of up to 100 crores has been totally removed. So it is applicable to anybody who wants to approach and take this priority sector lending. The third point on this, sir, the NIRVIC scheme, which I announced in the speech, which is Export Credit Guarantee Corporation's work, it will expand the scope of export credit, which is an insurance scheme, ECIS, to offer higher insurance cover to banks lending working capital for exports. This will enable reduction in overall cost of export credit, including interest rates, especially to the MSME. So the fourth point, and it refers to sugar export in this country, and therefore it has concerns for so many states which are active sugar producers, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and so on. Government has approved the sugar export policy for evacuation of surplus stocks during sugar season 2019-20. This shall involve providing a lump sum export subsidy at the rate of 10,448 rupees per metric ton to sugar mills for the sugar season 2019-20. The total estimated expenditure is about 6,268 crores that will be incurred for this purpose. So farmers and sugar exporters will obviously benefit from this. So the fifth point, enabling handicrafts industry to effectively harness e-commerce for exports, mass enrollment of artisans across India will be effected in collaboration with Ministry of Textiles. And the last point here, sir, measures for boosting the export sector. Special Economic Zones Amendment Bill of 2019 has been approved, wherein a trust or any entity notified by the central government will be eligible to be considered for grant of permission to set up a unit in Special Economic Zone, that is specifically towards promoting exports. So in all this, I've spoken about how we are energizing all the four engines so that the economy will get a boost. I'd like to assure the members that in our effort to do all this, we have not reduced the sectoral allocation for any of the important sectors. And I would like to take the most sensitive of four categories, which are often questioned and rightly questioned. For SCs, the scheduled caste, BE of 2019-20, sir, had given 81,341 crores. They had utilized, that is RE, they had utilized up to 72,936 crores. But even then, we have kept up the BE figure in mind and increased from 81,341 crores to 83,257 crores, not reduced at all, increased. So the ST allocation, Scheduled Tribes allocation, BE 2019-20, sir, 52,884 crores for Scheduled Caste in the BE of 2019-20. Scheduled Tribes, yes, thank you. Whereas in RE, sir, they had utilized only up till 49,268 crores, not withstanding that. I have ensured that in the BE of 2021, 53,653 crores. We have increased from 52 to 63, 53,653.
C52 Roman 11. आने सदस्य पूरा जवाब कर लेना. Just point of order. काय का order?
So I continue, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Women, sir. Women.
C52, where she has not taken consent of the of your chair, sir. That 352 Roman 11 speaks that a member while speaking shall not read a written speech except with the previous permission of the chair. Therefore, she is reading.
आसन ने अनुमति दे दी है. चलो करो. पढ़ा भाई, अभिषेक बनर्जी ने पूरा पढ़ा, रिटर्न स्पीच, अभिषेक बनर्जी।
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I didn't think I was reading at all. Sir, for women, 1,36,934. I'm reading now the number. 1,36,934 in BE 2019-20, sir. In BE 2020-21, this has been increased to 1,43,462, and this is for women. We have not reduced. For children, sir, 91,644 in BE 2019-20. Now it's 96,042 crores. That is BE 2020-21. So, if this is the way, RE is also here, sir. Children, RE, 87,642. I'll tell you for women. Women, 1,36,934 for BE 1920, RE 1,42,813, whereas now it's 1,43,000, even more than RE. So I'm glad you're very keenly hearing me out, sir. I will give you all the figures you want. All right, sir.
नहीं फिर से फिट इंडिया कर रहे सर, इनको बिठा दीजिए।
So, sir, that is about the sectoral allocation, sir, which is very important.
नहीं सर, फिर से फिट इंडिया कर रहे हैं, इसलिए इनको बिठा दीजिए।
Sir, deficit trends, sir. I'm almost coming to the end, except that there are one or two things which I'll draw the. So don't worry. Those who can't sit for those number of hours for a elected representative, I understand. I understand. I understand. I understand. Certainly. Yeah. I'm including you, sir. Honorable Member Maran, I'm including you. You're all elected. All of us are elected.
I think
yes?
there is no need to respond.
Sir, deficit trends, sir. Very often we are questioned saying, what about deficit? Are you taking care of it? Is there going to be a breach? And how is it that you are counting? I want to explain a few things, sir. Throughout 2014-15, till today, under Prime Minister Modi, both the tenures, then and now, we respect the FRBM Act always, every year. So I'll very quickly, 2014 to 15 onwards, 14-15, 15-16, 16-17, and so on, till this BE that I'm talking about, 2020-21, I will read down the numbers of fiscal deficit which has been used in the budget. 14-15 it was 4.1, sir. 2015-16 it is 3.9. 2016-17 3.5. 3.5 again, 3.4, 3.3 in BE 1920, which RE we went up to 3.8. 3.8. And in BE 2020-21, I have shown the glide path and said we'll come down to 3.5. Now, why am I reading this, sir? The respect that, yes, escape clause taken into consideration is what I'm telling you. So, क्यों पार्लियामेंट कम है क्या? पार्लियामेंट कम है क्या? Are we saying the parliament is calm? Are we saying parliament is calm? We are taking the permission from the parliament. Parliament कम है क्या? ये सदस्य बोलना ऐसे मुझे बहुत हैरान की बात लग रही है. Parliament से approval लेना कम है क्या? So please, honorable members should be conscious of what we are doing here. Sir, I come to the point, sir. The reason why I have listed out what is happening in each year under Prime Minister Modi, where we've kept to the discipline of FRBM. Whereas, let us please see what happened between 2008 and 9, 9 and 10, 10 and 11, 11 and 12, 12 and 13, and 13 and 14, sir. 2008-9, what was the fiscal deficit? 6.1. 6.1. What was the fiscal deficit in 2009-10, sir? 6.6. Listen, kindly listen. What was the fiscal deficit? Yes, I will read it. And yes, I will read it. I will read all that, sir, and in spite of that, your fiscal deficit number was this. Now don't ask me to read that, read this. Your fiscal deficit number, sir. 2008-9, 6.1%. Some hard truths will have to be heard. Some hard truths will have to be heard. 2008-9, sir, 6.1%. 2009-10, sir, 6.6. 2010-11, 4.9. 2011-12, 5.9. 2012-13, 4.9 again. 2013-14, 4.5 again. Sir, so when we are talking about fiscal deficit, let's please concentrate and understand when economies are managed by very competent doctors. All right, sir? Now, I am coming to the other point, sir. Primary deficit. Primary deficit, sir, which is also a very important indicator. What was the primary deficit, sir, in our tenure under Prime Minister Modi between 14-15, 15-16 and so on? 0.9%, 0.7%, 0.4%, 0.4%, 0.2%, 0.7%, 0.4%, all under one. Whereas, what was the primary deficit on 2008-9 onwards, sir? 2.6, 3.2, 1.8, 2.8, 1.8, 1.1. You couldn't come to 1, you couldn't even think of coming below 1. That's your primary deficit record. So, let us also understand one other last point, sir. The overall expenditure, particularly comparing 18-19 actuals versus 19-20 RE, I want to show that the overall expenditure, given the constraints in the economy and given the fact that government has to spend, has increased 16.5% with us in 18-19, 19-20. Are you spending money? Is consumption getting a boost? Yes, it is getting a boost. 16.5% is the growth that we can show. Whereas, sir, particularly on capital expenditure, sir, I want to just say, capital expenditure, about which, no, your money is being spent here and there. No. Capital expenditure, B to B, I'm comparing, now has gone up 21%, sir. Spending on capital has gone up. Sir, I just want to make it clear. FRBM Fiscal Council, I wish all of us read the Act, FRBM Act. The Act does not envisage any council, fiscal council. So, let us not mislead the House, sir, by saying, no, fiscal council, sir, did you constitute it? The Act doesn't have any provision for a fiscal council. I will have to come to the Parliament, which is what I've done, and to be told, where is the council? Sorry, the Act doesn't say anything like that. So, the FRBM Review Committee, sir, which was formed, which was in 2017, had suggested the council. The council was suggested by the review committee. It's not part of the Act. And therefore, that was also not accepted. And to quote it here, therefore it's not really appropriate. You may refer to it. So finally, sir, with all this said, I just want to assure the House that this government is fully conscious and is taking all the necessary adequate steps to ensure that all the sectors are given enough importance. There are specifically 3 different issues on which most members ask us questions. I'd like to highlight only those and finish it off. Employment. I'm sure many members will be keen to know about it. At least six different figures I want to quote and say that we have been taking care of employment. The first is Pradhan Mantri Rozgar Protsahan Yojana, through which 1.21 crore people have been given jobs till January 2020. Second, Pradhan Mantri Employment Generation Program, which is PMEGY, in which 15.94 lakhs of people have got jobs up to October 2019. Third, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, PMKVY, through which 15.4 lakh candidates have been placed in their jobs by November 2019. Fourth, Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, National Urban Livelihood Mission, under which beneficiaries are assisted to get jobs up to June 2019. 9.66 lakhs of people have got jobs. Deen Dayal Upadhyaya Gramin Kaushalya Yojana, DDU GKY, 3.52 lakh people have benefited up to October 2019. So we are further strengthening all the requirements for job creation. Sir, Manrega, sir, the government has been increasing allocations to Manrega, and at every stage. In 2020-21, the budget now has given a higher than BE 2019-20, sir. I'm coming, don't worry. Yes. RE of 2019-20 is considerably higher than BE of 2019-20. RE is higher than the BE. In 2018-19, we had made a BE provision of 55,000 crore and at RE we increased it to 61,084 crores. All right? Actuals were even higher at 61,815 crores. Just for the reference, sir, very interesting point which I want to draw your attention. I just want to contrast it with just 1 year, 2011-12. BE was 40,000 crores, sir. 2011 and 12, BE was 40,000 crores. RE was 31,000 crores. Which is actual amount, huh? Actuals were, even worse, actuals were, what was your BE? 40,000 crores. What was your RE? 31,000. What was the actual? 29,215. Sir, this is total, if you permit me, sir, I hope, pardon me for the language, dikkawa. Narega, total dikkawa in 2011-12, and now we are being asked, where is the Manrega figure? I am giving you Manrega figure, sir. Actually, we have given far more than BE. All right, sir? Sir? Sir, repeatedly I am asked, what are you doing for the youth of this country? I want to explain, sir, that for the youth के लिए क्या किया आपने? कुछ नहीं किया. This comes every time. 45 years is yours. Yours. I'm explaining you. Yes, sir? Sir, for the youth, very quickly, I won't take too much time, I'll just pointedly say 15 special steps have been taken by us. What are they? I'll talk about the startups separately. They are also youth. I'll talk about them separately. First, youth in the coastal areas are being given such opportunities that because blue economy has been given encouragement, sir, we are raising the production to 200 lakh tons. Growing of algae, seaweed, cage culture will all promote the young of that area. The next, sir, 3,477 Sagar Mitras and 500 fish farmer producer organizations have been announced. That will also take care of youth living in the coastal areas. It has been proposed to expand 58 lakh self-help groups already mobilized for the alleviation of poverty under the Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana. The next, large-scale employment opportunities for the youth will come through the viability gap funding that we are providing for building hospitals at district levels, because once hospitals come in, paramedics find their job, suppliers find their job, and that has got its own ripple effect. 9. Setting up of investment clearance cells, will provide end-to-end facilitation and support, including pre-investment advisory and so on. This will help entrepreneurship. Those youth who want to set up their own business can do it. 11, sir, the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has been given 2,827 crores so that they can push ahead with their activities on youth affairs. New education policy is coming up soon. Enabling sourcing of external commercial borrowings and FDIs will deliver higher quality education, and 150 institutions of higher education will provide apprenticeship embedded degree courses, and that's going to help a lot of people who want skills immediately before they finish their courses. Sir, urban local bodies have been given the option to engage as interns, young engineers, young professionals, so that they learn how government mechanisms work and in the process also have additional skills before they go to newer jobs. Full-fledged online education program is being set up, and that's going to help a lot of youth who are in distant areas where there are no good universities. National Police University, National Forensic Sciences University are all emerging areas in which a lot of youth can get admission and have better job opportunities. Sir, also, the National Resident Doctor Program.
These are all imaginary.
Imaginary?
All youth imaginary.
So, sir, total of 99,300 crores has been allotted for education sector alone, and 3,000 crores for skill development. Sir, as regards startups, I have very specifically highlighted 4 particular schemes. With that, I'll bring my reply to a conclusion. Early funding, including of seed funds, have been provided for early stage startups. Startups also have all infrastructure facilities of the government to involve youth power in startups. They will be rolling out value-added services, and therefore the ESOP has been given as one of those fiscal concessions for the equity employee stock options which startups like to provide for their good quality staff. All eligible startups with turnover of up to 25 crores is currently allowed a deduction of 100% of its profits for 3 consecutive assessment years out of 7 in its total turnover, if its total turnover doesn't exceed 25 crores. That's been now increased to 100 crores. And the 5 years has been extended to 10 years. 5 to 7, 7 to 10 years they can use it. So with all these steps, specifically for MSME and for particular sectors, I can give detailed breakdown, but not taking more time. I thank all the members for having patiently heard my response. We are taking care of building a very sound economy, and every measure has found resonance in the people who I have met in the last 3 days. Thank you.